Habs Nation. Have you ever seen a front office turn a sinking ship into a playoff contender not with a blockbuster trade, but by cutting dead weight behind the bench? In the ruthless, hyper-analytical ecosystem of the National Hockey League, organizations are often judged by the splashy deadline deals they pull off. Yet sometimes, the most profound transaction isn't about shuffling players. It's about purging a tactical liability from the coaching staff. I was manually cross-referencing the advanced goal saved above average ledgers for our community this morning, and the sheer corporate genius of this mid-season move hit me like a slap shot. Today, we're barricading the tactical war room to dissect how the Montreal Canadiens didn't just stumble into the Stanley Cup playoffs. They executed a calculated coaching extraction that completely recalibrated their goaltending geometry. Grab your save percentage spreadsheets, pull up your executive ledgers, and brace for an unflinching breakdown. We're conducting a forensic audit of why firing Eric Raymond and promoting Marco Marciano was the most pivotal front office transaction of the 2026 season. Let's dive straight into the structural reality of the Montreal Canadiens' crease before late January. The biological output was failing to meet the corporate mandate in the most glaring way possible. Under the guidance of goaltending coach Eric Raymond, our netminders were hemorrhaging goals on the ice. The collective metrics were nothing short of catastrophic. An .883 save percentage and a 3.08 goals against average across the goaltending tandem. These numbers weren't just underwhelming. They were a death knell for any team with playoff aspirations. In the modern NHL, where defensive structure and goaltending stability are non-negotiable for a postseason push, you simply cannot sustain success when your last line of defense is fundamentally compromised. Every game was a gamble, every shot potential disaster, and the team's confidence was visibly eroding with each soft goal allowed. Management, led by General Manager Kent Hughes, recognized this tactical failure for what it was, a systemic issue that couldn't be ignored or patched with minor tweaks. They executed a decisive mid-season termination, purging Raymond from the staff with surgical precision. This wasn't a personal vendetta. It was a cold, calculated move to protect the organization's trajectory. Enter Marco Marciano, promoted from the Laval Rocket in the AHL. Marciano wasn't brought in to be a buddy or a cheerleader. He was installed as a structural architect, tasked with rebuilding the goaltending foundation from the ground up. This was a textbook front office intervention, designed to stop the bleeding before the trade deadline forced him into a desperate, high-cost acquisition of a veteran netminder that would drain future assets. By acting swiftly, Hughes avoided the trap of overpaying for a Band-Aid solution and instead bet on internal recalibration, a gamble that's paid off in spades. Now, we must aggressively pivot our analytical lens to the ultimate beneficiary of this corporate restructuring, 24-year-old rookie goaltender Jakub Dobes. Before Marciano's arrival, Dobes was a high-upside developmental piece navigating turbulent waters, showing flashes of brilliance, but lacking the consistency needed to anchor a playoff-bound team. His early season stats reflected the broader struggles under Raymond's tutelage: shaky positioning, inconsistent rebound control, and a tendency to overcommit on plays, leaving him vulnerable to secondary chances. Post-extraction, however, the mathematical transformation under Marciano's oversight is nothing short of staggering. In 16 games since the coaching switch, Dobes has posted a 12-3-1 record, slashing his goals against average to a lethal 2.44 and boosting his save percentage to an impressive .916, all while facing nearly 30 shots per night. These aren't just numbers. They're a complete reinvention of a player who was on the brink of being written off as a work in progress. I need you to freeze your analytical processing and zero in on the clutch metrics that define Dobes' emergence as a game changer. Since January 12th, he's boasted an absurd .942 save percentage in the third period and overtime, moments when the game hangs in the balance and pressure peaks. When the ice tilts and the opposition is throwing everything at the net, Dobes is locking down the lower slot, stonewalling high-danger chances with a poise that belies his rookie status. He currently accounts for 11 of Montreal's 17 goals saved above average GSA, a stat that measures a goaltender's impact relative to league norms. This isn't just improvement. It's elite-level performance. The Canadiens didn't shell out premium draft capital or prospects for an established veteran netminder. They manufactured one internally by simply changing the software programmer. Marciano's technical adjustments, focusing on angle cutting, rebound suppression, and mental resilience, have turned Dobes into a cornerstone without costing the team a single asset. Let's unpack the specifics of Marciano's impact on Dobes' game, because this isn't magic. It's mechanics. Under Raymond, Dobes often overplayed shooters, lunging out of position, and leaving himself exposed to quick dekes or cross-crease passes. Marciano retooled his approach, emphasizing disciplined positioning, staying square to the puck, minimizing unnecessary movements, and trusting his size and reflexes to cover the net. Rebound control, once a glaring weakness, has become a strength. Dobes now directs pucks to safe zones, reducing second-chance opportunities that plagued the team earlier in the season. Mentally, Marciano has instilled a come-under-fire mindset, evident in those third-period and overtime stats. Where Dobes once seemed rattled by late-game surges, he now exudes a quiet confidence, a belief that he can steal games when it matters most. This isn't just coaching. It's a complete reprogramming of a player's instincts. Now, let's broaden the lens to the team-wide ripple effects of this coaching swap. A reliable goaltender doesn't just stop pucks. He transforms how the entire roster operates. With Dobes emerging as a brick wall, the defense in front of him, players like Mike Matheson and Caden Gould, can play with more aggression, knowing a mistake won't automatically result in a goal. They're pinching more on the blue line, taking calculated risks to maintain offensive pressure, because they trust Dobes to bail them out if a turnover occurs. Forwards, too, are skating with renewed freedom, pushing the pace without the constant fear of a breakdown, leading to an easy score against. The psychological boost has been a catalyst for Montreal's surge into playoff contention, turning a team that was bleeding goals into one that's now dictating terms on both ends of the ice. Let's also address the unspoken value in the trophy race, where the mainstream media fixates on high-scoring rookies like Ivan Demidov or Matthew Schaefer for their flashy point totals. But true front office value isn't measured in highlight reels. It's measured in wins, the currency that matters most when the standings tighten. Dobes has secured 28 of Canadiens' 46 victories this season, a staggering contribution for a rookie goaltender. That's 7 more wins than highly touted Yaroslav Askarov, another called a contender, has managed. Dobes is anchoring a team gearing up to host a lethal Tampa Bay Lightning in a critical playoff positioning battle. He brings an undeniable swagger to the blue paint, a presence that fundamentally alters how the defense operates in front of him. His confidence is contagious, turning the crease into a fortress and giving the entire roster a backbone as they head into the postseason. Moreover, let's consider the financial brilliance of this move. Acquiring a goaltender of Dobes' current caliber on the trade market would have cost a king's ransom. Likely a first-round pick, a top prospect, or both, especially mid-season when prices skyrocket. Even signing a veteran free agent as a stopgap would have eaten into cap space, potentially forcing tough decisions on extensions for young stars down the line. By promoting Marciano and unlocking Dobes internally, Hughes preserved both draft capital and cap flexibility, ensuring the team's long-term contention window remains wide open. This isn't just a win for 2026. It's a strategic coup that positions Montreal to build sustainably around a cost-controlled, homegrown netminder for years to come. Let's not ignore the cultural impact within the organization. Firing a coach mid-season is a bold statement, signaling to players, staff, and fans that mediocrity won't be tolerated, even in a rebuilding or transitioning phase. It shows a commitment to excellence, a willingness to make tough calls when the data demands it. Promoting Marciano from within also reinforces a merit-based system, rewarding those who've paid their dues in the AHL with a chance to prove themselves at the highest level. For the players, especially Dobes, it's a vote of confidence in their potential, a message that the front office is invested in their growth. This kind of decisive leadership from Hughes fosters a culture of accountability and trust, critical intangibles for a team eyeing a deep playoff run. Now, let's project forward to the playoff implications. With Dobes playing at this level, the Canadiens aren't just sneaking into the postseason. They're a legitimate threat in a wide-open Eastern Conference. Facing a juggernaut like Tampa Bay, with their lethal power play led by Nikita Kucherov, requires a goaltender who can steal games and weather storms. Dobes' third-period heroics suggest he's built for those high-pressure moments, capable of turning aside late-game barges when the season's on the line. Marciano's coaching had prepared him for the playoff meat grinder, where every save can shift momentum. This isn't just about surviving the first round. It's about having the backbone to go toe-to-toe with the league's elite and potentially pull off an upset. Finally, let's acknowledge the broader lesson for NHL front offices. The Canadiens have proven that elite asset management extends beyond the trade wire or free agency. By surgically replacing their goaltending coach, they unlocked a rookie anchor and salvaged their season without surrendering a single draft pick or prospect. This move is a blueprint for other teams struggling with underperforming positions. Sometimes the solution isn't external but internal, hiding in plain sight behind a coaching change. Hughes and company didn't just fix a problem. They turned a liability into a strength, setting a precedent for how to maximize resources in a cap-constrained league. The blueprints are on the table, and the playoffs are fast approaching. I'm turning the floor over to you in the comments. Step into the GM's chair. Was firing Eric Raymond and promoting Marco Marciano the most impactful move of the Canadiens' 2026 season? And can Jakub Dobes carry this momentum into a deep playoff run? Crush that subscribe button now to lock in your permanent executive access to this war room. Slam the like button to overpower the algorithm. Keep your sights locked on the transaction wires and stay fiercely tuned in for our next tactical breakdown.